The history of philosophy is a vast and intricate tapestry, spanning thousands of years and encompassing diverse cultures, ideas, and traditions. It reflects humanity's enduring quest to understand the nature of existence, knowledge, ethics, and the universe itself. Below is an overview of key periods and movements in the history of philosophy. Ancient philosophy, 600 BCE to 400 CE. Pre-Socratic philosophy, circa 600-400 BCE. The earliest Greek philosophers, known as the Pre-Socratics, sought to explain the natural world without relying on mythology. Key figures: Thales, Heraclitus, Anaximander, Parmenides, and Pythagoras. Major focus: the nature of reality, cosmology, and the principle of change. Heraclitus' notion of constant flux versus Parmenides' idea of eternal stasis. Classical Greek philosophy, circa 400-300 BCE. This period is dominated by the work of three towering figures: Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Socrates emphasized ethical inquiry through dialogue and the examination of life. His method of questioning, the Socratic method, is foundational in Western thought. Plato, a student of Socrates, developed the theory of forms, arguing that the material world is a reflection of eternal, unchanging ideas. Aristotle, Plato's student, laid the groundwork for logic, ethics, metaphysics, and natural sciences, diverging from Plato by focusing on empirical observation. Hellenistic philosophy, 300 BCE to 300 CE. After Aristotle, schools of thought like Stoicism, Epicureanism, and skepticism emerged. Stoicism, founded by Zeno of Citium, emphasized rationality, self-control, and virtue as the path to a tranquil life. Epicureanism, founded by Epicurus, advocated for the pursuit of pleasure, understood as the absence of pain and fear, through simple living. Skepticism questioned the possibility of certainty in knowledge, promoting a stance of doubt or suspension of judgment. Medieval philosophy, 400-400 CE. Medieval philosophy was largely shaped by the integration of Christian, Jewish, and Islamic theological concerns with classical Greek philosophy. Saint Augustine and Boethius played key roles in early Christian philosophy, integrating Platonic ideas with Christian doctrine. Thomas Aquinas later synthesized Aristotelian philosophy with Christian theology in his monumental work, Summa Theologica, influencing the scholastic tradition. In the Islamic world, philosophers like Avicenna, Ibn Sina, and Averroes, Ibn Rushd, preserved and expanded upon Greek philosophy, especially Aristotle, while exploring metaphysics, medicine, and logic. Renaissance and early modern philosophy, 1400-1800 CE. Renaissance philosophy, 14th-17th century. This era saw a revival of interest in the classical texts of ancient Greece and Rome, coupled with new scientific discoveries. Thinkers like Niccolò Machiavelli and Pico della Mirandola challenged medieval scholasticism and emphasized human potential, individualism, and political power. Rationalism and empiricism, 17th-18th century. Rationalism, represented by philosophers like René Descartes, Baruch Spinoza, and Gottfried Leibniz, held that reason is the primary source of knowledge. Descartes' famous cogito, ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, exemplifies the rationalist emphasis on doubt and certainty. Empiricism, represented by John Locke, George Berkeley, and David Hume, argued that knowledge comes from sensory experience. Locke's theory of the mind as a tabula rasa, blank slate, was influential in shaping modern psychology and epistemology. Enlightenment philosophy, 18th century. The Enlightenment was marked by a focus on reason, science, and individual rights. Philosophers sought to apply rational thought to society, politics, and ethics. Immanuel Kant represents the culmination of both rationalism and empiricism. His critical philosophy proposed that the human mind actively shapes experience and knowledge, famously summarized in his work Critique of Pure Reason. Other important Enlightenment figures include Voltaire, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and David Hume, who contributed to debates on government, morality, and skepticism. 19th century philosophy. German idealism, represented by G.W.F. Hegel, built on Kant's ideas but introduced the notion that reality is a historical process driven by dialectical conflict, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Karl Marx adapted Hegel's dialectical method to economics and politics, founding the basis of Marxism, which emphasized class struggle and the material conditions of society. Friedrich Nietzsche, a critic of traditional morality and religion, introduced existentialist themes, such as the Übermensch, Overman, and the idea of life affirmation in a godless universe. 20th century and contemporary philosophy. Existentialism and phenomenology. Existentialism, with figures like Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir, explored the nature of human freedom, the meaning of existence, and the individual's confrontation with an absurd world. Phenomenology, developed by Edmund Husserl and later expanded by Martin Heidegger, emphasized direct experience and consciousness as foundational to understanding reality. Analytic philosophy. Analytic philosophy, led by figures like Bertrand Russell and Ludwig Wittgenstein, focused on logic, language, and clarity of argument. It became dominant in the English-speaking world, especially in philosophy of language and mind. Postmodernism and critical theory. Postmodernism, with thinkers like Michel Foucault and Jacques Derrida, challenged traditional narratives of history, knowledge, and power, emphasizing the fluidity of meaning and the constructed nature of reality. Critical theory, particularly from the Frankfurt School, e.g., Theodor Adorno and Herbert Marcuse, critiqued capitalism, consumerism, and culture, focusing on the dynamics of power and ideology in modern society. The history of philosophy is a dynamic interplay of ideas, constantly evolving in response to new challenges and contexts. From ancient Greece to modern times, it reflects humanity's ongoing effort to understand existence, morality, and the nature of knowledge.